Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF 44 coming at you with another video. All right. So, I figured I'd do another therapy session because I had a pretty strange night. And I did my therapy session during that strange night, 45-minute therapy session, um, which I really enjoyed doing and listened back to it and listened twice in a row. And that kind of plays into why the night was so strange. It was strange for me specifically because I kept going to sleep and waking up and it would still be dark. Like, it was that kind of night. When I first went to sleep, it was starting to get dark. I think it was around 4. And it's because it's been gloomy over here with the storm that we're having and everything. So it was starting to get dark really early. And I was just nice and tired. So my body clock allows me to go to sleep whenever I want to. And that's what I did. I went to sleep. And I think I woke up like around 11:30. And it was still dark. And I stayed up and did the little therapy session. And throughout that entire night, basically, I was up. So like the majority of the dark night, at that point, I stayed up from like 11 to like 4:30. You know what I mean? And all I did was make that therapy session and then listen to it twice and did a workout session and ate some food in that time. And of course, with it being 45 minutes, I ate up a couple hours. So by the time I crawled back in bed, it was still pitch black dark. I think it was probably like 4:45 in the morning, still pitch black dark. For whatever reason, my body clock woke me up at like 6:35 and it was still dark. So I'm sitting here like, this is an everlasting night, yo. This night will never end. Like, it was one of them situations where I'm like, where's the sun? I'm tripping. But at the end of the day, I'm feeling good, man. The sun finally came up, or at least somewhat came up. I'm under the covers like I always am. I think it actually helps with the acoustics sometimes. I don't know. I'm strange. Y'all know that. But I want to do another therapy session just to kind of document that because it was strange, and also kind of talk about something else that had kind of crossed my my path on online, as it always does. And I figured it could give me something to throw at you guys. So I was listening to or watching a clip on YouTube from a guy by the name of FG Unleashed. And he has his popularity came from a situation with a guy by the name of what's my man's name? He's from the Death Row fame. He used to run with Tupac and Suge and them. But his situation, it was alleged that he told on this guy FG. So that's how FG came about. FG was telling his story and his point of view on how Mob James, that's who it was, Mob James was said to have, told on him or what have you. So I think it was one of those situations where FG kind of took the story and his situation and it's kind of parlayed it into a YouTube personality, presence for himself. Instead of taking a negativity route and furthering that, he's moving on and he's furthering with his voice. And so I followed him a long time ago when he first started the channel, but you know how it is with YouTube. We don't never see notifications of people we follow. I'm pretty sure y'all never see my notifications either. But it's one of those situations where he popped up, I guess because of the topic. Excuse me. Maybe it would have been kind of along the lines of the algorithm or something I had clicked on or something. But essentially he was talking about a sheriff stopping situation that took place over here in California, Gardena, where a rapper, with whom I actually hadn't been familiar with, I don't remember the dude's name honestly, but he was sitting in his car in a random spot, and the sheriff pulled up on him, opened his car door, pointed weapons at him, and told him if he moved, they was going to use those weapons on him. And we were able to see that footage. Now, that story had crossed my path once. I think I saw something on it maybe at the beginning of the week. And I just shook my head. To be honest with you, I didn't even think to talk about it because honestly, it's normal. It's really normal. I hate to, excuse me, I hate to be somebody who's so pessimistic about stuff like that, but I long stopped being outraged at certain occurrences like that. Because you live in Los Angeles and you just understand that, first of all, they do have a reputation with the sheriff's department. I've only really ran into them when I've had issues on the train, because that's their domain. Basically, any train type situations, well, at least it was back when I was riding a train regularly a couple years back. They would handle it. Instead of having local police handle it, it would always be the sheriff's department. And they had a reputation for being a little bit more rough around the edges in how they handle people, man. It's just understood that you're going to be dealing with a different energy with them in some cases. And so that's what FG was letting us know about, that specific understanding by way of this particular incident. And he was telling us, that's how it is for a lot of people out here in these different situations, in these different neighborhoods. It's like you must walk around with a gun a lot of times. But if this young man had a gun on him, they would have shot him. The way that camera footage showed, it was like they weren't even giving him his rights to any space whatsoever. They walked up to his car door while he was minding his business. He had nothing illegal on him but a license plate that was missing. One license plate, not both of them. You know what I mean? And I had a car that rode around with only one license plate at one point. Like, that could have been me, And it was like all he was doing was sitting in the parking lot, probably waiting for somebody. It wasn't safe in and of itself. He probably should have had a gun on him, being a black person in that neighborhood at that time. Luckily enough, he didn't have one. But the fact of the matter, he was sitting there black, and that was good enough for them to not only come up to him, but approach him as if he was going to be a threat. And, I wish he would have been a lot more compliant, as it pertains to how we speak to them, because we know how they are. If you give them any resistance, you're giving them ammo. And so he wasn't as compliant as I was trained to be as a black person, unfortunately. And it's something we have to consciously be trained of, I believe, and how to be nice to these people to keep them from blowing our heads smooth off. But I think it's something that we should probably have a class for, to be honest with you. At this point, I look at that situation, I realize he was saying the wrong words. He wasn't giving them the right submission. He wasn't letting his ego down. Some of us can't do that. It's not in our personalities. You know what I mean? And so should that cost us our lives because they perceive that as threatening energy, or are willing to use that as a means of saying it was threatening energies, as a means of giving us our end? Because that dude, the way that sheriff was talking to this individual, he was hoping that individual would do something that would allow him the right to murder him. It was obvious in the way that he was speaking. It was obvious in the way he was acting. He thought this was a motion picture, and he was a star in the movie. He wasn't a cop stopping anybody for any righteous reason. He was somebody looking for smoke. And so at that point, it's like you could clearly see we are at a disadvantage here. It's black people, especially for myself. I don't gangbang. I don't find myself in the streets like that. But those who are in the middle of certain situations, they can't afford to be in that young man's position, period. But chances are, if they're in that situation, minding their business, they should have something on them, which is what FG was trying to articulate from his point of view. It's not safe for a lot of us to be in our neighborhoods just minding our business, because not only do we have to deal with whatever it is we're dealing with in our own personal lives, with whatever conflicts may be going on, but we got this type of stuff going on where these guys are hunting. They're literally hunting. And they're looking for anybody who wouldn't be smart enough to say the right words to keep themselves alive, because that's all it really is. Smart enough to articulate the right words to make him feel like big enough of a man so that he doesn't have to feel like he has to shoot you to make up for it. That's the energy I detected. There's a murderer there, and they have him masquerading as a police officer or as a sheriff's officer. And it's a lot of them out there like that. And they give the whole situation the vision that we have of it. You know what I mean? When people say F the police, this was exactly the type of spirit that they're talking about. They're not talking about everybody. They're talking about that type of guy who we tend to run into all too often. And you hear the stories and the accounts, and we tell people, hey, we want this to stop. And you see the instances where people get shot. And finally, we started seeing some breakthrough as people start saying Black Lives Matter. It was an acknowledgement of this specific thing, mind you. That's all Black Lives Matter was supposed to ever be about. Initially, it was just an acknowledgement of this thing. And it's like, I'm thankful that this dude, because of all this going on, maybe something in this environment made it so that cop was able to, even less likely, pull the trigger. Because I think if some of this hadn't been done, if we didn't raise the ruckus and all of this kneeling and all of this, that cop probably would have been even more likely to shoot dude. I think it's sad enough. I think we've made progress in this area, and probably lots of it. Because there is an environment where cops have to say, man, I don't know, they may not acquit us. I don't know, we may have to have a bunch of people at our doorstep, at our mom's house, at our dad's house, or whatever it may be if we shoot this black boy. It's wild that we have to progress in this way and have to measure things in this way. But when we understand the dynamic here, man, and we talk about it all the time, we rip the Band-Aid completely off. You know what I mean? And I know there's going to be a lot of people who feel ostracized because I'm going to make it a black thing. But it feels like it. Even though they do this to all kinds of people. And Lord knows I got a first-hand view that they'll stop a white dude too. I got a first-hand view of that. Nobody got stopped more than my homie who was white. Nobody. I can tell you that right now. I was in the car with him at least 5 times when he got stopped. I ain't never been stopped that much in my life. So the Lord has allowed me certain experiences that maybe give me a unique point of view, but it don't take away from what it is we're talking about. And that's the point. See, a lot of people who have those experiences say, well, because I was in the car with my white friend, this is just something that happened to everybody. No, it don't. I was in the car with my white friend, got stopped more than anybody else, and I'm telling you, no, it don't. It's different, bro. Because every time I got stopped with my white friend, you know what we walked away with? Our lives. I was thankful I was in the car with a white dude. Because every time something, even though they were stopping him, we still got away. We still were fine. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Different. They stopped him because he was moving a certain way. We drove around a certain way. We was asking for it every time. But luckily enough, every time, he was white. That's real. Sad. But it's this type of stuff that prompts me to speak. And just because we didn't have a situation this morning, thank God, where somebody lost their life by way of the cops that we hear about and we could raise hell about. But at the end of the day, I don't want to wait till the next time to say this needs to continue to be thought of, and the environment from which this to be shunned needs to continue. I don't want to wait till the next time to say, yo, Black Lives Matter again, or some version of that, so people can stand with us. Nah, let's keep reminding ourselves that there's still a lot of work to do. And disarm those who tell us there's no work to do. Because there's a lot of them out there say that just everything's blue and you need to just comply and that's it. And we know that's not the reality of our world. And we know if they put themselves in our shoes, they would die because they wouldn't know how to survive. It's the truth. The same people who are telling you blue lives matter, if they were to put on black skin and be in these situations, they wouldn't know how to get out of them. Because they would be appalled at how they would be treated, and they would be incompliant in regards to it and probably blown away or beaten. And this is what needs to be understood. Not shunned, not disagreeable, none of that. No, this is a reality. And you can still support the police if you feel that the police need to be supported, but you definitely need to remove this element from it so that it can have more credibility when you speak, instead of having a righteous tone against you saying, nah, there's more to see. And you saying the tone isn't righteous, ignoring their point of view. That's the hate in all of it. If you see it from my angle, it's like, we're dying out here. We're telling you it's not all good. And you're telling us, yeah, but protect the blue. It's like, protect them from what? If anything, we need to be protected from them. And as a result, it looks like we need to be protected from you because you back them. So who are you to us, if not those who support us being killed? See, that's the evil in the room. It's like we're not even supposed to see that. And then it becomes something else. And that's why that's why I don't have the same energy for the NFL. Because I know they understand that because they market. See, the person on the floor, we don't get everything, but the marketers, those who market to us, they see the bigger picture in a lot of ways. They see the numbers in a lot of ways. They know what certain things are going to do or sway certain people if they push it in a certain direction or promote a certain way. They know these things because they deal with the marketing. They deal with what it is that the results of that is. When they see the numbers, when it's time for them to make money, they know what they need to do to love and support. And they take stances that keep people like this young man in dangerous environments, because they will not allow you to kneel without some resistance. And the kneeling was only about saving this young man from this experience, or worse, which we have evidence of happening repeatedly. And I'm supposed to sit at the NFL and say, yeah, but the flag is more important because the flag waves for the light, right? To whatever, as my homeboy over here is getting shot, or has to sit here and get traumatized by the idea of him being shot because some police officer is just being supported in his right to be this way. They're saying that his type doesn't exist, or his type is so few that we just shouldn't acknowledge it at all. No. Normalize shunning the mindset that'll support that nonsense. Find balance. You know, I'm a Laker fan, right? So when you see me talk about the Lakers, I'm always looking to see it improve. I'm not going to sit here and say I got a bunch of bad apples, but purple and gold, let's lose together. No. If it's bad apples in the Laker organization that's making our team bad, I'm always talking about getting rid of it and make it better. That's my blue, purple, and gold. Do you see what I'm saying to you? So if I'm back in the blue and I'm all about the police, and it's all about if that's my team, and I know there's an environment, there's a whole race of people telling you these people after me, they're trying to kill us. It was made just as seen. They literally are only put in place as overseers to us. And that has evolved into what it is that you know now as peace officers, overseers. That's slave stuff. That's what it came from. And we're telling you that it ain't too far away from its original intent. And you're sitting there saying, yeah, but we black the blue. Okay, and I guess you back what it is we're telling you. Because if you don't want to clean it up, if you don't want to keep it so that this environment is safer for those of us who walk around the blue that don't feel that way, then obviously you back the bad that comes with the blue. And thus you don't really care to see anybody see your blue as better from any other angle. Me, I want everybody to see the Lakers as the best. I want purple and gold to be seen as the best by everybody from all facets and forms, because that's the team I appreciate. That's what I stand for. If I'm standing for it, it's not as important. Obviously, we're talking about two different things, but what is the difference if it means something to me? When you wave your flag, but you allow your country to continue to put forth the worst stuff or the wrong things or what have you, ostracizing people, making people feel like some are more important than others, and all kinds of different stuff. And you want to wave the flag because it's a beautiful flag and you love your country versus everybody else who loves themselves and doing bad stuff too. But it's like, are we going to hold ourselves better? Are we going to see that this is our flag and it doesn't necessarily wave the right way? And we got to fix certain things and make it more proud. Or are we just fine with mediocrity? Or are we just cool with losing? See, these are the parallels we talk about on this channel, because it's no different. It's no different when we hold things in our heart and we want to uphold the most of it, and we allow bad energy and bad reputations to be attached to it, and we uphold those bad reputations. Then we have a bunch of people who hate us righteously or dislike us righteously. But we failed our flag. We failed it because it don't wave properly. If it has a whole fleet of people pointed at it, hating it for the right reasons. Now, if they hating us for the wrong reasons, we stood against them in their wrongdoings, and therefore we have enemies because of it. There ain't nothing we can do about that. We were upholding what it is we're supposed to be doing. But if we sitting up here allowing compromising situations, allowing stuff to be wrong, allowing ourselves to be seen as bullies, to be seen as overseers in 2023, then how best are we really choosing to support what it is that we love, if not to welcome hate toward it? My name is BDF 44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.